Hello friends, today we'll discuss how Aspen HIACs perform flashing calculation across control valves. Means how HIACs do the calculation and how we can do it manually and how we can validate the HIACs results by doing the manual calculations. So in this video I will explain you the basic concept of steam flashing across control valve in HIACs. I will tell you the manual method of doing this, what HIACs do using fluid package, PVT conditions and composition. You will know how HIACs calculate and how to match the manual calculation data with HIACs calculation data. You will also understand the orifice efficiency which HIACs using in flash calculation. I will also explain you both the cases, ideal, which is isenthalpic we consider when we throttle a gas or vapor stream in the control valve, and the real process which is not isenthalpic process. So this is all about me. I am presenter Lukesh Kumar Singh. I am a CUMD Petro Horizon Oil and Gas Engineering Private Limited. This is my education, qualification and experience. You can visit our company Facebook page and our company website to know more about us and our services and our work profile, and to get direct link for our YouTube videos and our new offerings. So how Aspen HIACs calculate flashing across control? Let's take, there is one steam going inside the control valve and this coming out the control valve. So this is inlet stream, this is outlet stream. Let's take, this is at pressure 1000 kilopascal, which is 10 bar, and at temperature 300 degrees centigrade. So we are taking example of steam. So from steam table we can get this H1 value, the enthalpy of steam at pressure T1 and temperature T1 from the steam table. So let's say we are throttling this valve to drop pressure here, so that the outlet pressure is 101.32 kilopascal, which is 1 bar. So we are dropping pressure across the control valve by throttling 10 bar to 1 bar. So we want to know the enthalpy of outlet stream at P2 pressure and temperature, and we also want to know what will be the quality of steam after throttling into the control valve and after where we drop the pressure from 10 bar to 1 bar. So in HIACs, if you do, it will quickly give you, once you define the component and then choose the fluid package and enter the pressure, temperature and composition value, so it will directly give you the value of H2 and T2 and quality of steam at the outlet condition. But you don't know that what is the, see, there is a nozzle here, or you can say orifice, across which the fluid is passing here. This throttling valve is normally the globe valves, so there will be some losses. So in ideally we don't consider the efficiency of nozzle, and we consider that this process is isenthalpic, means enthalpy at inlet equal to enthalpy of outlet. But in reality the enthalpy is not constant, but the value you are getting from the HIACs simulation, it gives the value which is not isenthalpic. It gives you the value for a real fluids. That's why it shows you here temperature different than this temperature, because for ideality, for ideal gas, if you consider the ideal vapor or ideal condition, so the enthalpy is a only function of temperature. So if enthalpy is not changing, isenthalpic means enthalpy is not changing, so temperature should also not change. But HIACs give you different value. It does not give you 300, it gives you less than 300 here, but ideally it should give 300. So let's study all this things what I explained you orally. So we assume flashing across control valve, an isenthalpic process ideally. So we consider that delta H is constant, means H2 minus H1 equal to constant is equal to 0. So H2 equal to H1. That means inlet enthalpy equal to outlet enthalpy, means we want to calculate H2. So ideally it will be equal to H1, so which is 3052.1, which is not true for real fluids and for History calculation also. If you see History calculation also, it does not show you the H2 value same as H1 value. So how first we need to understand how this relationship established by law, this H2 equal to H1 isothalpic. So for isothalpic process in control valve, I will explain you this. So for isothalpic process in control valve, we assume that there are some condition here while applying the first law of thermodynamics, which is energy conservation law. So we assume that shaft work, which is Ws equal to 0, means we are not producing any work from this. No heat transfer. We consider that there is a perfect insulation isolation, that there is no heat transfer is occurring from system to surrounding or from surrounding to system. So delta Q equal to 0. And we also consider that the kinetic energy, change in kinetic energy is 0 and change in potential energy is 0, because what we are considering that this we are considering inlet and outlet pipe is long enough that the fluid velocity here is similar to same as fluid velocity here. So how? See here, if the fluid velocity is V1 and it is getting through throttle in this valve and the pressure drop is here, so the velocity will increase here, but because the area here is more, but as it will enter into this pipe which is of long enough length, so this velocity will come into its original velocity, will gain it too, because the velocity will decrease and pressure will increase. So in this way we consider that the kinetic energy is not changing because the velocity is remaining constant. And the second thing is, we considering that this is a horizontal on a horizontal plane, so there is no elevation difference in inlet and outlet, so we consider that the potential energy is also constants. So that's the reason we are saying here potential energy is constant. So if kinetic energy and potential energy is 0, change in kinetic energy and potential energy is 0, so we consider that internal energy change is also 0. So if we apply the first law of thermodynamics, which is energy conservation law, in terms of enthalpy, so we can write delta H equal to delta U plus Ws. So we know that Ws is 0, delta U is 0, so we can consider delta we can give the delta H equal to 0, so H2 minus H1 equal to 0, then we can say H1 equal to H2. So this is called isothalpic process. So how this is how it's drive the isothalpic relationship. So for an ideal gas, we know that enthalpy is a function of temperature only and internal energy also function of temperature only. So if H1 equal to H2, then T1 equal to T2, means it must be for an ideal gas, an ideal system. It means in throttling process across control valve, if the enthalpy remain constant, then the temperature also does not change. So first we will see the ideal process, isothalpic process calculation. So we know delta H we consider constant, so H1 equal to H2, which is 3052.1 kilojoule per kg at 10 bar condition and 300 degrees centigrade, which I have mentioned initially. So but at P2, which is at 101.32 kilopascal, which is outlet pressure, which is 1 bar, enthalpy of saturated steam is 2776.2 kilojoule per kg from steam table. So that means the outlet is saturated steam at 1 bar will keep only this much energy. So this additional energy which is coming from the inlet stream, so this 2776.2 minus this one, which is minus 275.9 kilojoule per kg, is additional energy in the outlet stream. So what this additional steam will do in the outlet stream? because the required for the saturated steam only keep this much energy at 1 bar. So due to the pressure drop across, so what that additional energy will be doing in the outlet stream, because that energy, how that will be utilized in ideal process, that I am going to explain you. So due to pressure drop across control valve in throttling process, the Joule-Thomson effect will give you the cooling effect. Consequently, the temperature will drop. Of course, the temperature will drop, but ideally this additional heat in the outlet pipe minus 275.9 kilojoule per kg will nullify the temperature drop and keep the temperature and enthalpy of outlet stream constant. Means we are considering that, see, whatever temperature is dropping because of Joule-Thomson effect, that is maintained by heating of the outlet stream by this energy. So that means it's keeping the temperature constant as similar to inlet temperature. So ideally this we consider as isothermal process. This is the reason actually. But for real process with real gases, we know that enthalpy is not a function of temperature only. Enthalpy is a function of pressure and temperature only. So here H is not only function of T, but it is a function of temperature and pressure P. So we can write H equal to function of pressure and temperature. Therefore, even if temperature remain constant, but there is a pressure drop across control valve. So that means P is changing, T is constant. So if we write a partial differential equation for this, so we have to observe both the things, when the change in enthalpy with change in pressure at constant temperature plus change in enthalpy with change in temperature at constant pressure. So that's the region in actual process which is represented by partial differential equation. There we consider the effect of both the things. So that's the concept we are using here. So even if temperature remain constant, but there is a pressure drop across control valve which cause the enthalpy to change from real gases and real process. So this can be observed when we do flushing across control valve in Espen HYSYS, because there the outlet temperature is not same as inlet temperature. The outlet temperature is lower than the inlet temperature when we drop the pressure across control valve while throttling. So that means HYSYS gives you the real values for real gases, because it is calculating based on the enthalpy is a function of pressure and temperature both. So there is an orifice in control valve, it has some mechanical losses, therefore we need to consider nozzle efficiency of expansion across control valve, because what is happening in control valve when we throttling a steam uh, by dropping the pressure across control valve, so pressure is dropping. So it is like similar to steam turbine, where we put the inlet pressure is high and outlet pressure is low. So there is expansion. So similar thing is happening here. So this is also a expansion work. So there is a work production through the control valve. So orifice of the control valve has some efficiency for the real process. So that's what we need to understand. So here if we consider that nozzle, or so we say orifice of a control valve has efficiency of 98%, so we'll put it 0.98 for expansion work. So we know that what will be the actual work across the control valve orifice. So actual work will be defined by delta H actual equal to delta H ideal multiplied by efficiency, because the actual work will be less than the ideal work. So actual work we know that this is the delta H. If we see H2 minus H1, so this is the thing, because this is the difference of enthalpy at pressure 10 bar 300 degree centigrade and at pressure P2 at 1 bar. So multiply by 0.98, so this actual delta H will come minus 270.38 kilojoule per kg. So if we take the actual enthalpy H2 dash at the outlet pressure P2 1.0132 bar, then the delta H actual we can write H2 dash minus H1 in place of H2 minus H1. We know that here, if you see here, H1 H2 we have taken 3052.1, so this is H1 and this is H2. So what we are talking about when we are talking about delta H ideal? So delta H ideal is this H2 minus this H1. So now you understand what is delta H ideal, how this figure comes. So this is H2 minus H1. If you multiply with nozzle efficiency, so this becomes actual actually. So this actual will be lower than ideal. So now ideally the output stream enthalpy will be H2. So we are considering that actual it will be H2 dash. So now this delta H actual can be written as H2 dash minus H1. So H2 dash minus H1 is this one, and we know that H1 is the enthalpy at 10 bar, which is 30 something, 3052.1. So from here we can calculate H2 dash is, so which is 2781.72. It is slightly higher than this value 2776.2. This is 2781 and that is 2776.2. That means, see, this at this enthalpy is slightly more than the enthalpy of saturated steam at 1 bar. So that means the real gas will be slightly superheated because this enthalpy is more at the outlet condition. So now if H2 dash is this one, the heat is slightly more than the enthalpy of saturated steam at pressure 1 bar from steam table, which is this one 2776.2. So what is mean actually? It means that the outlet steam is slightly superheated. Therefore dryness fraction of outlet steam is still 1, which is same as inlet steam. So dryness fraction at 10 bar and 300 degrees centigrade. That means the steam is not getting wet due to cooling effect or pressure drop. It is still maintaining the dryness fraction X, and on top of that it is slightly getting superheated through the, when it is throttled across the control valve. So what is the outlet temperature of steam? We need to know this also. So we know that what is delta H actual, so which is 270.38 kilojoule per kg as we have calculated. As there is no phase change, only the temperature change, because the inlet also saturated steam and outlet is superheated steam. So still this both is steam, so there is no phase change. So we will use here the concept of sensible heat, as I told you in the previous videos for steam production and steam work done video. What is sensible heat and what is latent heat? So here we will use the sensible heat formula. So we can write this delta H actual equal to Cp into dt delta T. So this Cp is the heat capacity as the average temperature T1 plus T2 by 2. So which we can take from the HYSYS or some we can calculate from the data book 2.02, which comes 2.02, and T2 minus T1. So T1 is about 300 degrees centigrade at 10 bar. So from here we can calculate T2 is 166.14 degrees centigrade, which is lower than 300 degrees centigrade. inlet condition. So this temperature is outlet temperature of outlet steam is at no orifice or nozzle efficiency 98%, but the value we got from the Aspen HYSYS for NRTL and Pang Robinson fluid package is 291.7 degrees centigrade. Therefore, we need to vary the orifice efficiency or the nozzle efficiency to match this T2 value with the HYSYS value. So in this way, we can also understand how much nozzle efficiency in control valve HYSYS is using when it gives this value. So what we'll do, if we take nozzle efficiency 0.78, 78% efficiency, and we calculate delta H actual and then this T2, so it comes 192.30. And further, if we reduce this nozzle efficiency to 70%, then this T2 is coming 204.391 degrees centigrade. So in this way, by doing trial for nozzle efficiency, we can find the nozzle efficiency or the orifice efficiency of control valve, which is being used in Aspen HYSYS to produce this value. So this is all about the concept of flashing calculation in HYSYS by throttling the steam through control valve. So you can calculate manually also, and you can validate the HYSYS. You can validate your calculation with HYSYS by doing the nozzle efficiency or the orifice efficiency optimization using this method, and you will come on the same result. If you both keep the you keep the same orifice efficiency as being used in the HYSYS, but if you go in a HYSYS, so if we select the control valve and we click on the control valve icon, we don't see any option for orifice efficiency. So that means we don't know that what HYSYS is using, but you can see by this doing manual method that HYSYS is using this efficiency. And if your vendor give, let's say by your HYSYS flashing calculation, you come to know that this value is based on, let's say, 70% orifice efficiency, and your vendor is saying that our control valve orifice is so nicely machined and finished that it gives 98% efficiency, then your HYSYS value may not be correct. You have to correct by this manual method, because there is no option in HYSYS control valve that to input the efficiency. It takes automatically. We don't know how it calculate, but it takes automatically, so which is not always reliable. So you need to see what your vendor is giving guarantee, or what your vendor is giving in your control valve data sheet, the orifice efficiency of your control valve, where you are throttling your stream through a control valve to come to the point actual calculation. So this is all about this HYSYS and manual calculation for flashing across control valve. So thanks for watching. So this is about Petro Horizon offering for petroleum, chemical and mechanical engineering student. So you can come to us for free consultation also, and these are our training courses, value added training courses, and engineering skill development courses, design skill development courses. We also provide 3 days demo training classes to know what exactly is engineering design and what design engineers do when he is working in design industry. We are successfully running 2 batches. One is petroleum engineers batches for value added training course for Aspen HYSYS foundation course, and the second is mechanical design engineering batch, which is 6 month duration for mechanical design engineering. We keep maximum size per batch is means our number of student in one batch is 10, to give them full attention and the crystal clear concept. So you can contact us on this, mention email ID and phone numbers. You can come visit our office on this office address to have any discussion and consultation or clear your doubt. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel to get updated with new videos. Thanks a lot once again. Bye bye.